where does this leave the Prime Minister's big argument, the one he based his whole premiership on, that he would always be prudent with the nation's finances? Barely a year ago, he described a deficit of 8% as being completely out of control. So what would he do to describe a deficit today of 11.9%? This is more than Dennis Healey borrowed when he was forced to go to the IMF. Let me turn to the IMF as well he might have to. I'd love to read out. I would love to read out a list of countries the IMF are saying are heading for a larger deficit than Britain next year. I can't. There aren't any. Russia, South Africa, Turkey, Argentina, they are all heading for deficits half the size of ours. Is it any wonder that in a not very noticed announcement, ministers chose this time to announce, some of you might have missed this, they announced they wanted to remove the stigma from countries going to the IMF. One minister actually said this. He said the IMF should be seen as something to celebrate. I'm not making this up, I promise. A bit like getting well-being care or going to a spa to recuperate. What planet are these people on? When are they going to realise they can't spin their way out of this one? This budget was a missed opportunity. We need to move from an economy of borrow and spend to an economy of save and invest. They talked about the disregard, but why not proper help in the tax system for people who save? Where was the plan to regulate the banks and regulate credit properly? Isn't it time to end the tripartite system and restore the Bank of England to its proper place of regulating debt in the economy? And on the fiscal side, he scrapped his fiscal rules, he scrapped his spending plans, but he's put absolutely nothing in their place. That's why we need spending restraint now and an Office of Budget Responsibility for the future. No one, I have to say to the Chancellor and the Prime Minister, no one will believe the government is going to sort out the public finances when the Prime Minister says they're only going to make serious start in 2011. We all saw what they're doing today. A few clever political taxes on the rich before the election, but save up anything in terms of real tax increases for 2011. But look what we've got between now and then. We've got another Queen's speech. There's another pre-budget report. There's another budget. The Prime Minister sits there in his bunker talking about all the brave things he's going to do in 2011. Isn't there anyone left to tell him he's got to hold an election between now and then? They just don't get it. They can't see what's actually wrong. He will never bring in the changes required because he doesn't accept that the economic model he's run for 12 years, based on government debt, consumer debt, housing debt, is fundamentally bust. This Prime Minister can never be the future because he doesn't understand what went wrong in the past. Now, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the fundamental truth is that all Labour governments run out of money. The last Labour government gave us the winter of discontent. This Labour government has given us the decade of debt. The last Labour government left the dead unburied. This one leaves the debts unpaid. They sit there, running out of money, running out of moral authority, running out of time, and you have to ask yourself, what on earth is the point of another 14 months of this government of the living dead? If they don't have the courage, to deal with the debt and take the difficult decisions, why not make way for the team that can?